Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Friday edition of Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Chrysan, TK joining us from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood on this Friday over off Airline Highway. I'm coming to you from a undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. And we're presented, as always, by L'Auberge Casino, where we will be tomorrow for Sports Shorts Daily. L'Auberge Casino and the Barstool Sportsbook, where you can place your bets for all the MLB and NFL and college futures and all that. We will be laying some action at the window tomorrow as well. First off, one of the lines that has been affected by the news of the week, Mason Smith is not going to be playing for the LSU Tigers, the outstanding five-star defensive end who's had his problems staying healthy and being on the field. We thought, okay, here we go. Mason Smith, he's back. He's ready to have this great year. First game of the year, he's suspended. And folks are losing their mind, Tommy, as to the reason why.
Well, a couple of things. LSU, he took some money for an autograph before NIL became a deal. Okay, so then it was against the rules. And LSU's known about this. They've just been waiting for the NCAA to hand out the decision. And lo and behold, it comes out he can't play against Florida State. So at least, they got enough time to, put another person in there and coach him up, step him up, next man up mentality. But it's unfortunate, that he hurt his knee last year against Florida State with celebrating a tackle or a play early in that game, and obviously never played another snap that year. But you got to figure it out and go forward. But I think the confusing thing was when he said he took money for an autograph, everybody's going, wait a minute, what the hell about the NIL? Well, it happened. When it happened, NIL wasn't in place. So they'll have to play the Seminoles without Mason Smith.
Well, the thing about it is that it's kind of a silly thing. And look, I get it. A rule's a rule. Statute of limitation. He was supposed to serve it last year. He would have, but then he got hurt and the whole 9 yards. And the NCAA informed LSU earlier this summer. They've been knowing about it for a while that he was going to miss this game. But the thing about it is that, they could have, in my opinion, done one of the two things, Tommy. They could have said, in the new day and age, which, oh, by the way, tomorrow at the Bayou Collectibles show in Mandeville, where Tommy White's going to be and Hayden Travinski's going to be and Harold Perkins is going to be there and other college athletes. I mean, getting $40, $50, $60, $70 an autograph. They could have said, look, in the day and age of autographs being legal, we know he broke the rules before. They could have said, pick your game that you want him to serve the suspension. Let him miss a non-conference insignificant.
Rambling on the ninth.
Exactly. Or let him miss a half like you did with Johnny Manziel. Now, I know the Johnny Manziel situation was different. People are comparing it to that. Johnny Manziel, there was no proof he did what he did, and he denied that he was paid. There's proof that he got paid. They're not denying that he didn't, get paid for this autograph. The question is the timeline of when it happened. It was against the rules at the time. So, but to me, they could have tempered it and said, look, in this day and age, pick a game. But now for them to affect the biggest non-conference game of the year in the country, I mean, this is arguably the biggest game in the country this year. That's not a conference game. And you're going to have an effect with arguably the best defensive lineman in America.
Well, I've said this for 25 years. NCAA is an acronym, but no clue at all. Okay, and they don't have a clue. All right, give Reggie Bush's Heisman back. You could have handled this Mason Smith thing differently because when NIL came out, the NCAA ran and looked the other way. They don't have nothing to do with it. They said, okay, conferences, you handle it. I mean, they're just a joke, a total joke. No clue at all. That's what NCAA stands for. And this is unfortunate for LSU, but, it's not about what, as Coach Berkman always says, it's not about what happens to you, it's what you do about it. So, therefore, LSU go get it done. By the way, the over and under on that game went up to 58.5. It was sitting at 56.5 for a long time. Point spread is still sitting at 2.5. And, of course, that game, 9 days away now, Ronnie, that the Tigers and the Seminoles from Orlando.
I would think that this Mason Smith thing probably had a little trigger effect to that. People start taking a look at this. Hey, Mason Smith's not going to play. It might be more high scoring. Over at the Barstool Sportsbook in L'Auberge Casino, like a lot of other sports books, the line is going up. I personally thought the line, I know you liked the under as it was, which means you probably like the under even more now.
Yeah.
But I personally think that both offenses are going to be better than they were a year ago. And if you remember a year ago, LSU's offense did nothing in the first half, finally got their act together in the second half. I actually still like the over in this one, Tommy. All right, let's move on to another giant topic in the world of sports, the biggest week, and that is Ohtani, the best baseball player on the planet, arguably one of the best pitchers, one of the best hitters. The Angels were faced with the decision whether to trade him or keep him in July. Most people thought they were going to trade him. They ended up keeping him, and they get rewarded in typical Angels fashion. They are snake bit. There is a dark cloud over the Angels. Don't know what it is. I feel bad for that franchise because the last 15 years, Lord knows they've tried. They've spent the money, but they can't get it right. And Ohtani goes and gets hurt, and he's going to have Tommy John surgery. At least at this point, if they re-sign him or something, Tommy, they get him at a discount.
Yeah, you're talking about a $250 million difference. Yeah, he was talked about he could get $500 million. Now that might be half of that, or who knows what. But he found out, he came out of the game. They said arm fatigue. Had the MRI done after the first game of a doubleheader when he came out of the game. They determined it's a torn UCL. Okay, Tommy John surgery coming. He batted in the second game and actually had a double in the game. So, but being a left-handed hitter, that front arm's pretty darn important, when you got to get the knob through the ball. So I don't know, but you made a good point when we were talking earlier. If he's got to have Tommy John surgery, do it tomorrow, because then the clock starts ticking as to when you can return. Angels aren't going to the playoffs. No way. Trout's back on the IL. He needs to just shut it down, get the surgery now. A phenomenal athlete he is. Maybe he bounces back a little sooner than some people do from Tommy John. But then, as we all know, there's no guarantee after Tommy John that you're the same. Many people are. Some people are better. But there is a question mark which will affect his next contract. And his next contract is going to be incentive later. Okay, we're going to give you $200 million, and you'll get another $200 million if you can make 20 starts or you can play in the game. I mean, it's going to be crazy.
Well, the thing about the Tommy John surgery, that if it's your first one, and nowadays, and somebody like himself, chances are he's going to be fine. The problem, though, is that once you have one Tommy John, you're more apt to have a second one. And the other thing that I just don't know, I don't know modern medicine. I don't know the physics of it and how it all works with the body. But if he has Tommy John right now, let's say he has it, before September 1, when will he be healthy enough, Tommy, to be able to swing fully, but yet he's not going to be pitching, right? He's still going to be rehabbing the arm. He's still going to be, because probably at best he's a year away from pitching in the major leagues. So he's probably, if he would have Tommy John right now, he's probably in August 1 next year, potentially pitching in the major leagues. But can he be hitting April 1? Can he be a DH for all that time during the season leading up to the rehab, through the rehab of pitching to get ready for maybe an August 1 return? That part, I don't know.
Well, we'd have to talk to somebody who had Tommy John, who knew, maybe an old National League pitcher who also did some hitting back in the days before the DH. I never had Tommy John. You didn't either, I don't think. But you and I, with nothing when it came to hitting. But I would think, being a left-handed hitter, and a little bit I did hit summer ball and when I was younger, I mean, that front arm, that's extremely important, and especially at that level. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking if he has Tommy John before September 1, I don't know if he swings a bat by May 1 or June 1. And, that'll all be a, see how it goes thing. But it's an unfortunate situation for Ohtani and Major League Baseball, because he's a marquee name, arguably the greatest player in the game because of what he was doing on the mound and at the plate and all that stuff. And it definitely changes that story 100% from what it was before 2 days ago when he, arm fatigue. Well, no, it wasn't arm fatigue. It was a torn UCL, ultracollateral nerve, and Tommy John's on the way.
It's just, I mean, that franchise, I mean, whether it's Hamilton, who was a superstar for the Rangers, or, Pujols and I mean, they have tried. They have spent money to get the big name players, and whether they just don't produce because they're towards the end of their career, whether they get hurt, it just has not worked over there. And I feel so bad for them because they were right there. What do I do? What do I do? Do we trade them and try to get Because look, they kept them, but there's no guarantee they're going to be able to keep them long term. And so they rolled the dice, and then they get snake eyes. It's unbelievable.
Well, and then who on the free agent market wants him? Or, okay, yeah, we want you, but this is what the contract's going to look like. And that's going to be a lot different sheet of paper than it would have been a month ago.
Well, we're going to find out a lot. I mean, I'm going to learn a lot over the next few months over, how can a two-way player, when you have a Tommy John, how does that affect the hitting, and when can the hitting come back? But
I'm going to try to find out. I know some people that have had the Tommy John. I got to call her.
The other thing is that we're going to find out what Ohtani wants. Is it about the money, or is it about playing for the Yankees and winning a World Series? Because he's probably going to get the most amount of money from the Angels. The Angels at this point are going to get a discount. They're not going to have to spend $500 million. They might have to spend $300, but they're still going to get that superstar player, and they probably have the best opportunity to pay the most, but still save from what they were about to pay a few months ago. And do the Angels feel like they need that marquee name for that franchise in that city to keep up with the Dodgers and everything else going on? Or are they willing to just say, hey, it's just too risky and start from within? There's so many questions. One of the questions also is, and I think it's a foregone decision, is that the Oakland A's have turned in their paperwork to move to Vegas. They need 3/4 of the Major League Baseball owners to approve the move to Vegas. They don't have a meeting scheduled at any point in time. There is a franchise kind of committee. The owner of the A's, who bought the team in 2005, came out and talked about how the city dropped the ball and blah, 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 blah. There's no chance, right, that the A's are going to have any problem moving to Vegas.
No, I agree with you completely.
Yeah, and look, it's soon enough. You already have an NFL team. You now have a Major League Baseball team that's going to be coming. It's just a foregone conclusion. You already have a hockey team that's NBA coming next, right?
I would clearly think that's going to happen very soon. I don't know, 1 year, 2 years. I think it's going to happen. But keep in mind now that the Super Bowl is in Vegas. Next August, September, LSU opens their season in Vegas. I'm sure you'll be at that game against Southern Cal, who plays San Jose State Saturday and beat them like a drum. So, yeah, Vegas, when 10 years ago you couldn't mention Vegas in front of the suits at the NFL, and now they've embraced it. Follow the money. It's all about the money.
Speaking of Southern Cal, over at the Barstool Sportsbook at LeBears, the line is -31. Southern Cal is a 31-point favorite over San Jose State. 2 games for you to watch this weekend. Of course, Notre Dame and Navy, the most marquee game. Notre Dame, a 20.5-point favorite over Navy. That game over in Dublin, Ireland. I like buying the half on that 20.5 and taking Navy. I like Navy.
There we go. You and I are going to be on the opposite side a lot this year. But no, Southern Cal -31. Caleb Williams, their quarterback, who won the Heisman Trophy, he's the odds-on favorite to win it again. LSU's Jaden Daniels, second best odds to win the Heisman. So Southern Cal should beat San Jose State. And again, LSU opens with Southern Cal next September in Vegas on a Sunday night, just like they're doing the Sunday night thing with Florida State. And then Notre Dame, I love laying 20.5 against Navy. Notre Dame's going to try to send a statement. They got Hartman, the quarterback from Wake Forest, who's really, really good. Going to be the best quarterback they had in a long time at Notre Dame. So I'm looking for I don't like Notre Dame, never have, never will. But when you make a bet, you try to win money. It's about managing money. So I am all over Notre Dame.
By the way, talking about Hartman, the quarterback in Notre Dame, he with his NIL money, he's one of the higher paid NIL players in the country. And with his NIL money, he got his sponsors and da-da-da-da-da. He gave every player on the Notre Dame team Beats headphones. So 120, 30 players all got these, super expensive Beats headphones thanks to him.
Hey, Ronnie, we just got a comment from James who said Ohtani had Tommy John surgery in 2018. I was not aware of that. I'm going to look that up, James. I was saying this. That would be, this is his second one, which means that contract's going to be even smaller.
Yeah, listen. When you get that first Tommy John surgery, it is a situation where you will. Let's see. This was yesterday. Yeah, you look it up real quick for you. I'm trying to get the date on that.
Yeah.
There are players these days. There are young men these days, whether it be at the high school youth level, that if they have any sort of arm troubles, they're almost elective Tommy John surgeries, because now the Tommy John has gotten to the point where it's so good, the doctors have it down to a science that first time, so good to where it almost increases your velocity. Now, doesn't happen every single time. We have seen it happen. Look, and a guy that we're all familiar with here in Baton Rouge, I mean, Kurt Ainsworth, he had Tommy John surgery out of high school, and his velocity went up. And there's been other examples of that. And so some people are deciding to get it out of the way. I think that's a little crazy, because the stats show that if you have it the first time, you're more likely to have it the second time. But I'm not saying that's not the case, obviously, here. But that there is a little bit of a. Some orthopedic surgeons have talked about that families and kids at 14 years old, 13, 14, 15 years old, have talked to them about having the surgery even when it's not super necessary, because they're of the belief that it's going to make little Johnny better, which is scary.
That's really, really scary. I know medicine's a whole lot better now, and the whole sports medicine world is better, and gets better every year, especially if you go back a few decades when Tommy John ended many careers. So that's it, you're done. You had the surgery.
To look it up, did you find medical history yet?
I did. I was
okay.
looking at something.
I
know this. Your old number 7, Alan Risher, had Tommy John on his elbow when he got to the NFC in the USFL, and he told me he threw the ball better after he had Tommy John, and he played baseball in high school and all that. He's a multi-sport guy, but
that was the stone.
But that's like when Fred Flintstone was hanging around. So he's not. I can't check with him. I got to check with Ainsworth and somebody else. And I know a couple other people that have had it.
So,
all right, Roddy, you ready for radio tomorrow?
Well, while you're looking it up, I'm going to talk about 2 other topics real quick. There's a new. People were calling me, texting me. People were wondering, just kind of curious, and what's going on. Paul Maneri, people might have seen on social media that Paul Maneri is involved with Baton Rouge Community College with their baseball program. And some people were confused, like, is he coaching? Is he what's going on with Baton Rouge Community College? He is an advisor. He is going to be a sounding board, a mentor, if you will, for Thomas Semino, the head baseball coach at Baton Rouge Community College, who's only 31 years old. And he is going to be sort of like I said, an advisor and a sounding board, a mentor. So Thomas will be bouncing things off of him. He'll be giving advice, that kind of thing. He is not going to be over there hitting fungos, coaching anything. He's going to be rounding guys at third base, making pitching decisions. That's not going to be his role. It's a non-coaching role, but it's a great thing for Baton Rouge Community College. It's an even better thing for Thomas Semino personally. And we also saw another big name, John Brady, who is going to be involved with the basketball program over there at Baton Rouge Community College. And all of this is thanks to Brock Cantro, the new athletic director. When I say new, he was named it about a year ago. But Brock's relationship with John over the years in basketball and their personal friendship led to John getting involved with that program. And John's role will actually be probably a little more hands-on. He'll actually be over there a lot more, but still two veteran guys who just have the time and the money to give back and want to be involved in some way, shape, or form. I think it's a great thing for that program.
Well, it's great for Brock Cantro and BRCC and for those athletes, because you got John Brady, who coached the team to the Final Four. You got Paul Maneri, who won a national championship. Like I say, he's not going to be hitting fungos, throwing BP, but he's going to. It's great for Thomas Semino as well. Ronnie, I looked it up. Ohtani had Tommy John surgery in the fall of 2018, returned to the Angels May the 1st, 2019. Now, they didn't say when in the fall. They didn't say that could be, to me, fall could be September to November. So you're looking at, 6 or 7 months 5 years ago. So maybe has that become 5 or 6 months now with the advancement of sports medicine? So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Your famous quote, we just have to let it play out.
Well, yeah. Well, he wasn't pitching when he returned, but
Right. Yeah, that was just a hit. Okay.
Right.
That was just a hit because he didn't pitch then. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't throw a bullpen, but he wasn't listed as a pitcher.
Yeah, he didn't throw in 19. But the thing is that, man, this is, if you're his agent, wow. I mean, look, like you said, he's going to get $250 million. So don't feel too bad for him. But I mean, they literally probably were behind the scenes having conversations with the Angels about a long-term deal potentially. And what are you going to offer? What are we going to talk about here before, trying to decide the game plan for moving forward on, because look, the Angels, if they would have signed him August 1st to a long-term deal and give him a bunch of money, that was going to be cheaper than waiting a year to him to hit the free agent market had he stayed healthy. Now it's all cards are on the table. It's going to be fascinating. I think that's the word, fascinating, to see what happens, where he lands financially, health-wise. Where does he land long term? I mean, it's incredible and unfortunate, but at the end of the day, don't feel too bad for him. He's still going to be a multi-gazillionaire. Lastly, before we go, Tommy, tell us about golf. Big giant week in the world of golf.
The Tour Championship over at East Lake Country Club in Atlanta. Victor Hovland, bunch of guys at 10 under. They're in the second round today. A lot of money going to be given out Sunday. Only the top 30 players are in this tournament. So I'll be keeping an eye on it over the weekend for sure. The Tour Championship over in Atlanta.
$20 million, I think it is, to the winner.
$20 million purse. But the winner gets $20 million, like $10 million now and a $10 million annuity. So we should have got a little better at golf when we were younger. Right?
I mean, why I was focusing at Lakeview Playground so much on basketball when I had no chance playing basketball at the next level. Should have been out at Eden Isles with my dad, working on my golf game, back in the day.
I spent too much time playing bitty basketball as well. I should have been hitting a dang golf ball somewhere. Yeah. But, hey, we are going to play soon, though. No question about that.
The first place I ever hit a golf ball, I think it was at City Park at the double-decker drive.
No way. That's where I did it. That's the first place I ever hit a golf ball. That's amazing.
Yeah. All right, TK, tell us about Tremonti's, and we'll see everybody tomorrow at Barstool Sportsbook inside the Bears.
All right, Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, lunch special today, fried catfish, topped with crawfish etouffee. You can't go wrong. Get all your wine and whiskey for the weekend. Chairman's Reserve meats, Wagyu beef. You see all the whiskey behind me. We got the wine. Everything's happening here. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Jefferson Highway, right down the street from Parkview Baptist Church and School. And as Ronnie said, don't forget, you got to listen to Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 12 noon on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We'll be out there at the Barstool Sportsbook, maybe on the restaurant side, out there at the casino. Stop by and say hello, or be sure to listen to us from 10 until 12 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. As always, like and share this video. On behalf of Ronnie Ranch and everybody here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, we hope you have a wonderful weekend. Talk to you tomorrow.